it's driven by, I don't want to necessarily say greed, but the fear of missing the boat, right? So it gets to a certain point, a little momentum, and nobody asks the questions. Nobody would go back and says, well, wait a minute, let's go back to the beginning. Why is this successful? Who is this person? What does this company do? Are all they doing is just wash trades? What are they doing? What is how is this success built at the very beginning? And so, but people don't do that because they get excited, and again, there's this fear that I'm going to miss the boat, and so the next thing you know, you've got Shaq and all these other people out there promoting it, and then people say, well, if they're promoting it, it's good. That's all the due diligence I need. Tom Brady says it's good. Let's go.
That is a problem. Yeah, and I should point out that I have passed up on doing things like that. Things with crypto, things with NFTs. I right away I was like, I don't believe in it. I think there's a lot of potential for horseshit here. And when it comes to something like FTX, you're dealing with crypto, right, which is relatively unregulated, right? At least to a certain extent.
Yeah.
How would one even investigate that? And if you got to the point where it got to like FTX, where, I mean, it looks so legit, right? They put their name on arenas. They had the FTX arena in Miami. They have huge superstars doing ads for them. There's billions and billions of dollars in assets. And then you have this origin story of this genius wizard kid who figures all this out. And I mean, it should have raised some red flags. They found out they were just doing amphetamines and fucking each other in an apartment in the Bahamas. You're like, what are the odds that that's 100% legit?
I'm surprised.
Yeah, that they're in this polyamorous love fest in a $40 million penthouse apartment.
That's not a fucking word we heard 15, 20 years ago, polyamorous.
Yeah, where did that come from?
Just like somebody came up with it. But yeah, look.
How would one even, like, once, okay, let's say once that ball's rolling, you got all these investors, you got all this money rolling in, and there's a major point here. They were the number 2 contributor to the Democratic Party, which is an enormous amount of money. And there was this one conspiracy theory. What was it on Michael Savage's webpage? There was this one conspiracy theory that the United States government donates money to Ukraine. Ukraine buys stake in FTX. FTX donates money to the Democratic Party. And that there's this direct chain. Now, he removed that, right? And it's a conspiracy theory, unsubstantiated conspiracy theory. But when you've got that kind of money moving around, like billions went to Alameda Research Group and they don't understand, and he was saying, I have no knowledge of this, and you got money that's just flying all over the place and billions are missing.
Right.
Where's it going? And how would one even step in and sort of try to get an assessment of that? And in doing so, would you fuck up the whole thing? And would all those people lose out on billions of dollars of legitimate money that they've invested? Millions and millions of creditors, right?
Well, if it's built on sand, they're going to lose anyway at some point. So, it's always better to expose and create transparency, I would argue, and when you're talking about something like this. A couple of things. First of all, if a company that you're looking at investing in suddenly names an arena, gets a corporate jet, buys a yacht, has associated real estate, offshore, whatever it is, you might want to look at this thing. Now, how do you do that? I don't want to oversimplify it because a lot of folks in my industry and information and security industry will try to make things sound very complicated. It's not. You ask questions, right? You start by saying, I want to know who these people are. Right? You start investigating the people, the company structure. You start looking at, how do these companies relate to each other? I mean, what do the trades look like? What are they holding? What are the assets that they're holding? In what names? What are the entities? What associated entities are there? What are their activities? Right? It wouldn't have taken much to figure out that Sam Bankman-Fried was basically just banging colleagues and doing whatever drugs they were doing. I don't even know what drugs.
A lot of amphetamines, apparently.
A lot of amphetamines.
Yeah. That's what the lady Caroline Ellison.
Got to keep awake, I guess, if you're doing that much banging. But
I guess.
So it's the due diligence part. I don't want to oversimplify this, but I think I am, because it's the easiest thing you can do to avoid getting wrapped up into a fraud or investing in something that goes south. Right?
So how does one do this, and where does one start? So, like, when FTX, say if you're an outsider and FTX has how long has FTX even been around?
Shit, what did he start in 20? When did he start?
May 2019.
Yeah, 2019.
That's it?
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
That's wild.
yeah. He hadn't been around long,
And they don't even have Bitcoin, right? They weren't even. Is that correct, Jamie?
Without speaking from 100% knowledge, I believe this was all about just trading some coin they made and share like a stock. It's like almost equivalent to a stock. Like,
Yeah, he basically made his money on what they call wash trades, in part, right? In which all that means is, if you look at a transaction, the buyer and seller are the same person. That's a problem, right? Now, the reason why it's not a problem in crypto is because it's unregulated.
Right.
You can't do a wash trade in the financial industry. You haven't been able to do that in, what would that be, in 80 some odd years, right?
Wasn't part of the problem that he was calling for some sort of regulation, and that's where Binance had an issue with it? Am I wrong about that, Jamie? You're a crypto
I'm
guy.
reading
Help us
into,
out
like,
here.
a lot of this was saying his donations were to help get influence in regulations and anything that was going to be happening with Congress and crypto, because it's obviously on its way.
Right.
So he wanted to have an
yes,
stake in that.
Exactly.
So he wanted to accumulate
know.
an enormous amount of
Right.
money, an enormous amount of influence, and protect his money.
Right. He's looking for plans and intentions of Capitol Hill, basically. I mean, if from an intel
Yes.
perspective, he's looking to see where are they going to go with this so that I can either, somehow block that effort or create an effort that's more advantageous to him. Right?
And it seems like
Yeah.
it was effective, at least in its intention, because like Maxine Waters is like, he doesn't really want to come in and testify.
Yeah.
So
Sam's a good guy.
They brought him in. The White House brought him in to talk about the pandemic, apparently.
What?
And just as general information. They said they're asking about crypto.
if
but
you're gonna fucking ask someone about the pandemic, would it be that guy on the right? I mean, I would love to see a conversation between the guy on the left,
Yes.
Biden,
Yeah.
and the guy on the right. The guy on the left is making up words. The guy on the right is on amphetamines.
Come on, man.
Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre conceded that 4 meetings may have also covered general information about crypto. Between senior Biden officials were about the pandemic. Like, what?
Yeah.
What could that fucking young kid doing speed fucking his neighbors?
Well, look, here's the thing. Nobody in the White House really understands crypto to begin with, right?
It seems like very few people understand crypto, really.
But